Welcome back. Ladies and gentlemen, our focus continues to be on the big situation right now just unfolding vis-a-vis Israel and Iran. A lot of people say that you will be looking at a major escalation from Israel. Will that happen? Will that amount to more chaos, more destruction? In the middle of this, you're also seeing Israel taking a very strong position vis-a-vis the UN chief and saying that he today will be declared a persona non grata. He cannot step on the Israeli soil. A lot of questions being asked, and who else but Alex-Gandler, who's joining us. He's the deputy spokesperson of the Israeli government on the show. Alex, good evening, and thank you so much for your time in the middle of a lot of this that is happening. First up, we want to convey our concern to the people there because as humanity, everyone has suffered, terror. India has been at the receiving end when it comes to terror. You believe this is just a fight on terror, Alex, nothing more, and this is a fight that has to be won. It's a good fight?
Shalom. Thank you very much for having me on your program. Yes, absolutely. This is a war on terror, state-sponsored terror by Iran. This is something that India knows quite well, how to fight state-sponsored terror. And we've seen this with the Iranian support of its proxies, Hezbollah, Hamas, the Houthis, Hezbollah in Iraq as well. This is a war for Israel to win. We are at a crossroads where we understand we must defeat these malign forces that are in our region, trying to disrupt the stability not only of Israel but of every other country in the region. And I think many of our partners understand that it's something that we are fighting for them as well.
Yes, and when you say this, Alex, I do understand that there is clearly a lot of pain also in what possibly could unfold. Because when it comes to terror, when it comes to mindless acts of terror, like we've seen just about yesterday, there are a lot of people who are questioning why did this attack take place in the first instance. Some are also pointing fingers at Israel. But before we, deep dive into that, why don't you tell me what happens next? Because everyone also wants to know what will Israel be doing next. Will you go in for the counteroffensive?
Well, for us, it's not a tit-for-tat war. This is something that Iran thinks will do. This is not children playing on the end of the day. What we need is our citizens. We are fighting on several fronts at the moment. We have strategic goals on each front. In the south, a release of our 101 hostages and the complete decapitation of Hamas, the terrorist organization in the Gaza Strip. A second one is in the north, where we are to move Hezbollah over the Litani River as per Resolution 1701 by the United Nations Security Council in 2006, and the return of more than 60,000 displaced Israelis to the north. So for us, there are strategic goals that we need to achieve. We will find a time and place to respond, whether it need be regarding to Iran, whether in Iran itself or in other arenas that we're fighting. You need to understand, every such arena in the end is connected directly to Iran. It is interconnected completely. Iran is using all these terrorist organizations as its ground forces. Iran does not possess an air force that is capable of striking anywhere. Does not possess ground forces that are able to strike anywhere. They're using rockets and they're using proxies in order to attack other nations across the region, including Israel, of course, but not only. It's been embedding these malign forces in other countries in order to use their ground and infrastructure and civilians in order to strike Israel, but not only. So we are here fighting this war against Iran and its proxy ground forces for the security of our citizens and civilians.
And Alex, what is your understanding of the fact that at a point where you're almost looking at a seven-front war, Iran for the longest time has been acting through its proxies. What has changed? I mean, many people also say that this is Benjamin Netanyahu who's baited Iran. Iran has fallen in a trap and Iran will learn a lesson. Is that true?
Iran started it. It wasn't baited. On the 7th of October, Iran, with its proxy, started this war. On the 8th of October, Hezbollah launched its first rockets and missiles at Israel. So the one to begin this escalation was Iran. On the 6th of October, us here in Israel, we were celebrating our high holidays. We did not see a war coming, and you probably saw it with the surprise that we took on the 7th of October. This will not happen again. Ever happen again. So we are trying to prevent it in any way possible. Why has Iran done this? It's a very good question. It seems that Iran is on the back foot after Israel has dealt several serious strikes to its capabilities. Again, through these proxy forces, they're claiming for self-defense, and you can see the irony of that because Israel is not acting in Iran at the moment. It is acting against the terrorist organization Hezbollah in Lebanon and against the terrorist organization Hamas in Gaza. Is this Iranian territory? It seems like they think it is. They have taken over parts of the Middle East with their proxies, and now they're responding in a way that makes you think that they're being attacked while they're not. But we'll see about that.
Okay, and when you say this, if I can push that point a little further, do you believe that, you know, there are powers behind Iran right now? Has Iran been pushed into this situation? I mean, who are those behind Iran? From where does Iran get, you know, all this might to do what it has done?
Well, Iran for years has been investing heavily, not in its citizens or economy, the same way Israel and India do. It has been investing heavily in its rocket forces, in its nuclear program. Iran's citizens are starving and impoverished. They live in a country which technology dates back to the late 90s, early 2000s. Their Air Force is using planes from the 1970s. So is every Iranian airliner. There is nothing behind Iran besides radical Islamism, Shiite Islamism, and revolutionary ideas that have not ceased from 1979 until today. So we're not seeing anything new. We're seeing just the implementation of that strategy of revolutionary, of trying to promote revolutionary ideas to the world through terror.
I think you've touched that good point of Islamist terror, and I'm so tempted to ask you a follow-up question to that. But Alex, before that, I want to speak about the UN Secretary General. Now, Israel has banned him from visiting, you know, your soil. You say that he's persona non grata. Do you think that such a stand also does embolden a lot of those elements, and perhaps we as a world today should be speaking together when it comes to condemning terror? Terror should have no religion. Terror must be condemned unequivocally. What's behind this entire step?
Yes, absolutely. First of all, I completely agree with the saying that terror has no place in this world, and we all together as a united community of nations should stand against terror or anyone that brings terror to the table as a means of communication, which is what is happening with Iran. Regarding the United Nations Security Secretary General, our foreign minister has designated him as a persona non grata because of his stance in the recent year. Many of his statements did not comply to what we think should be as a neutral position which he should hold. Yesterday, he had zero condemnation towards what happened in Israel, which happened without any provocation on Iranian soil. We have also submitted letters to the United Nations Security Council regarding the same issue. Unfortunately, the Secretary General has not been a forthcoming person and has not taken this neutral stand in order to support the end of terrorism.
Okay, and when you say this, I was just looking at a response that has come in from Chaudhry Fawad Hussain. He, remember, is from the PTI. He's been a former minister. He says, Alex, and I quote him now, UN should ban criminal Prime Minister of Israel entry in the UN building. He has used the hashtag Israel involved in genocide. Your response?
Well, I'm not sure exactly who this person is, but unfortunately he is extremely ill-informed and has zero understanding of the situation. So any kind of response beyond what I just said would be irrelevant.
Okay, but let's open this conversation about Islamist terror. Do you believe it's important for, world capitals now to come together and condemn that? Because Islamist terror is also a reality, whether we accept this or not. And, there has been a lot of thinking that outfits like the Hezbollah are being supported only because there are some who believe that the Hezbollah is fighting for an Islamist cause and Israel is Jew, Benjamin Netanyahu is a Jew, and that is why he is being targeted.
Well, Hezbollah follows the Iranian revolutionary ideology, which is to spread Shiite Islamism all over the world. This is something that is not coming from my mouth, but actually part of the ideology and the full statements of Iran ever since the Iranian Revolution in 1979. So there's nothing new about this. At the end of the day, I don't think it touches upon all Muslims. It is not even close. We're talking about very certain people, very certain terror organizations that are doing this. I can tell you that in Israel, we have Muslim citizens that are part of this society in all levels, from the simple person on the street to the Supreme Court judge to generals in the Israeli military. So it doesn't mean that anything to do with Islam is bad. But the way that Iran is using Islam, the way that Iran is pushing on with its revolutionary ideas, that is the problem.
So, Alex, then would you categorically say that this is clearly not a Muslim versus a non-Muslim issue? And what would your response to be to those politicians, to those countries, to those perhaps, proxies who are trying to make this look like a Muslim versus a non-Muslim war right now?
It is completely untrue, and yesterday is actually a perfect case for that. Yesterday, we've had help of our regional partners that also understand this destabilization of what we call the Middle East, what is in India called Western Asia, complete destabilization by Iran. And we had regional partners. Jordan stated that it has intercepted rockets above its territory that were abiding or entering its sovereign territory. We have many partners that understand, Muslim partners from the region, mostly Sunni, that understand that Iran is the malignant force that is destabilizing our region.
Okay. And Alex, let's also spend some time talking about India, because like I said, India has been at the receiving end of terror. We've seen Israel and India joining hands. Prime Minister Modi, Benjamin Netanyahu have multiple occasions spoken about this and how, there can be a lot of synchronization on dealing with a lot of these terror elements. What are your expectations from New Delhi today? We've seen the Prime Minister reaching out to Benjamin Netanyahu. We've seen the MEA making it very clear that we stand with Israel. But we also believe that dialogue is very important. Communication is very important. Escalation should not be the best way forward.
Absolutely. We have a very strong bond, Israel and India. There's a lot of Israelis have a great affinity towards India on the personal level, and I think that is the strongest point to make in this case. I just saw less than an hour ago President Modi congratulates the people of Israel with our high holiday, the New Year's Eve of the Jewish calendar, thanking Prime Minister Netanyahu, and we thank him in return. These connections, these warm people-to-people connections are the most important thing between our countries. A lot of Israelis have traveled to India during these holidays. It's a long quarter of holidays for us, about a month of holidays, and a lot of people travel abroad, many to India because of their affinity to the culture, to the people, to the food. It's wonderful. I've been to India myself as a tourist. So for us, this connection that allows both the people-to-people connection, but also this political dialogue between the countries, this is the most important thing.
Okay, and Alex, before we let you go, what is the last thing that you would want to say perhaps to everyone, to people also watching this story in India? Because people are asking, is this the beginning of World War III? You know, people want to know whether Israel is going to retaliate, not retaliate, ensure that, you know, terror completely is defanged from, you know, a lot of these conversations. So what is going to be your word of assurance to also a lot of Indians who are worried about safety of their loved ones?
Absolutely. I am not a prophet of doom. At the end of the day, we have our strategic goals, and they're pretty simple. As I said, the most important thing for us, and we're coming to a year to the October 7th attack, we still have 101 hostages, Israelis, but also non-Israelis, that have been kidnapped from Israel and taken hostage by Hamas into Gaza. Every person in Israel thinks about them. That is the most important issue for us. Secondly, bringing back all our displaced citizens and civilians to the north, to their homes, to their communities. It's been a year. It's been a year since they've seen their homes. Some of those homes are no longer there. Only today, people don't know this, but we had 80 rocket launches from Lebanon into Israel, to the north. Many homes destroyed. So I wish us all in this Jewish New Year's a year of peace. שתכלה שנה וקללותיה ותבוא שנה וברכותיה. A year and its curses to be gone, and a year and its happiness to be had. So thank you all. I wish us all a happy new year here from Israel, from Jews.
Yes, we second that wish, Alex, and best wishes to you and everyone at home. And we really pray that there is peace and no wars. Thank you so much for your time in the middle of all this, Alex. He's a deputy spokesperson, remember, of the Israeli government, who was talking to us. With this, we also head into a very quick break. But on the other side, remember, this is our non-stop rolling coverage of the day's top focus story. When we come back, we'll also tell you what really is the Iron Dome technology all about. How does this work? How did it repel a lot of missiles? So don't go anywhere.